Okay, so this is how it works. Enterprise structure configurator. So there is a task, establish enterprise structure. We will go to that task. First of all, we will enter the detail about enterprise. Then we will enter the detail about your divisions. Then we will enter the detail about legal entity. Then business unit. Then we will enter the detail about reference data set. I will come back to this if somebody is having a problem in reference data set. Enter the detail about the business units, and after that you will assign the reference data set to location. Now once we are done with this approach, the top one, we'll go to the bottom one. Then after that we'll identify that where we are going to use job in our organization, or where we are going to use the combination of jobs and position. Many organizations go with job and position both. Many organizations don't implement positions depending upon their requirement. So in this place, we identify where we are going to use jobs or where we are going to use jobs and position both. And after that, we will actually identify that what are the different attributes, or maybe you can say flex fields, which will be on an enterprise level, or what are the different flex fields which will be for on a particular set level. And once we are done with both the steps, we will review the entire configuration and we will load the configuration in the system. So once you load the configuration, each detail which you have entered will be created at a single time, other than reference data set.
So will we be able to do all these set of activities, or they're pre-existing in the testing?
We will be able to do all these, but this load we will not be able to do, because at the same single time at an environment only one configurations can be loaded, ESC can be loaded. So the one ESC is already been loaded. So we'll go till this point and we'll not load the configuration. Load is like you have to click one button. So if you are able to go till that point, that is fine. Okay, Lakshmi. So we'll cover this. Let me complete the enterprise structure. Then I will actually give an organization from US. You can take any example and we can elaborate on that. So in PeopleSoft, we have a concept of set. So what happens is that suppose that when you are hiring an employee and you want that certain group of jobs or a certain group of grade should come under this business unit only. So we generally enable a set concept. So what happens is that, let me take a notepad on this. Suppose that there is a BU1. There is a set BU1 which is actually map 001. Now we have grade 1, grade 2, 1, job 2, location 1, location 2. So these are the different data in our system. And there is also location 3. Now, whenever an HR is hiring an employee or doing any transactions on employee, whenever the HR will select business unit 1, which is mapped to set 001, all the foundation data which is mapped to set 001 plus all the foundation data which is under common set will start appearing. Suppose that this G1 is mapped to, it is mapped to set 002, set 001, again it is mapped to 2, and it is mapped to common set. So what will happen whenever an HR will try to hire a person in this business unit 1, which is mapped to set 001. So that HR will be able to see grade 1 under the grade list of values. Under the job list of value, the HR will be able to see job 1. Under the department list of value, the HR will be able to see department 1. And under the location, the HR will be able to see L1 and L3, because L3 is common. So these are mainly used for your security purpose. Suppose that you have certain set of jobs or certain set of grade which you want to hire to HR of a particular business unit, or maybe to a particular uh, maybe you want to hire some confidential jobs. So what we do is that we actually assign it to a different set, and the business unit is not mapped to that set. So any question on this reference data set?
I think we are not clear.
So what is common set?
Common set is suppose that now let me do this again. BU set 003. Now again, BU is mapped to a reference set, reference data set. Okay. So common set is something which is by default in the system. And this set 001, set 002, all those sets is something which we will create. Now, each business unit will be mapped to a certain set, like set 1, set 2. It can be anything. So now, and all the foundation data, like 4 foundation data, grade, locations, job, and department. These are also mapped to set whenever you create them. Now, you have created a grade which is mapped to set 001. And this set 001 is mapped to business unit 1. So whenever you do any transactions in system, so the first level, suppose that HR is trying to hire an employee. So the first level HR will select legal entity. Then the HR will select business unit. As soon as the HR selects the business unit 1, under the grade which is mapped to the set, which is again mapped to that business unit, the set should be common. It will start appearing in the drop down. In case of location, this location is mapped to set 1. So whenever HR will do a transaction in business unit 1, the HR will be able to see location 1 and location 3 in the drop down. Let me show you a transaction example. For adding any employee in a system or hiring any person, so we generally go to this new person. So we'll enter details like your personal information, then we'll enter details like your legal employer, then we'll enter details about the business unit. And depending upon what business unit we select, the jobs, grade, locations, and department will start appearing. So I will go to this task. I will do all these transactions on day 3. Just to give you overview of about set how set works, I am just opening this page. You can give a hire date. You can select any hire action. The first thing you need to select is legal employer. So maybe select any legal employer, Absco. Then you can select any name. So once I am just entering the basic information. So when you click on next, whatever the geographies which you have loaded will start appearing. So let me try to select United States. So as we know that geography of United States is already loaded, so all the city will start appearing in this place. If you click search, all the state will start appearing. So let me try to enter any postal code and just enter tab. So with this postal code, we have 2 geographies. So whatever geography you will load will start appearing in all the addresses field. Now we have entered the legal employer entity. Now the next thing which will enter the business unit on the employment information tab. So this was your personal address information. Okay. So we are there. So you can see this business unit is required. So let me enter any business unit. Let me select any one of them. So depending upon this business unit, our foundation data like grade, location, jobs and department will appear. So if I go in grade, all the grade which is mapped to the reference data set, and that reference data set which is mapped to this business unit will start appearing, and on all others which are in common. Suppose that there is some grade XYZ which is mapped to some other reference data set and which is not mapped to this business unit, then it will not appear in this list. So we'll come back to again in a more detail on a reference data set in our day 3 class, but for just time being, just try to remember is that if this business unit is mapped to a reference set 1, all the grade which is mapped to reference set 1 plus all the grade which is mapped to the reference set which is common is for every business unit, will start appearing in this list.
So basically it is a shortlisting and security feature which will not show
Security
you those things which are not relevant.
Yes, suppose that some jobs or some grade is not relevant to a particular business unit HR. So why they want to look into it? Or maybe in some company what happens, some of the jobs and grades are confidential, which only a certain set of HR has an access to. So we can do all those activities by using this functionality.
Sir, can one business unit have multiple reference data sets?
No, one business unit will have only one data set.
And can there be reference data set at division level or some other level of the enterprise?
No, the reference data set will be only on a business unit and 4 foundation data, that is location, job, department, grade. Moving to the enterprise structure, let's now try to create an enterprise and all those data with help of enterprise structure. So for that, we will go to our implementation project. So from this task, I will go to the manage implementation project. So this was my implementation project. I will open this. So the task is, you can also do that. You can go and see the individual task one by one, or you can just type a task that is. Okay, so it was a mistake. Establish enterprise structure is a task which you need to open to use enterprise structure configurator to create your foundation data. So click on this, go to task. You will see that a lot of enterprise has been created using this enterprise structure configurator, but only one is loaded in the system. So what we will do is that we will create, but we will not click the load configuration. So once we create, it will start appearing there and it will be in a status not loaded. In case you guys are doing for the first time, you have to create and it will start appearing, and after that you can click and go to the load configuration tab. So what it happens is that it will ask you that whether you want to submit a process. If you click here, it will take some time and the entire structure and everything will get created.
So this enterprise configuration we cannot build before this geography loading, right? It has to be done on.
Because you will see we have to enter, we will add many addresses while doing this task. Whenever we create a legal entity, it will ask for a legal address. So their geographies will come into picture. Okay, so the first, when we are on this page, we'll click on plus. Enter the name which you want. Make sure that you are using your naming conventions or something which is constant throughout the training. So I will use enterprise structure, TRESC training. Now, suppose that we need to create the enterprise first. TR 001. Short name will be automatically populated. Coming, so I will enter it. Now, primary industry. So let's select finance and insurance. Finance and insurance usually go with jobs. They don't implement positions. And I will come to this point at how we can identify which industry go with job, which industry go with jobs and position. Headquarter country. United States. Legal name can be same. Legal entity identifier I can give TRE 001. It is like your registration number or a PAN number. Whenever you register any company, these details you will get.
It can give something like a TRE underscore legal entity 001, so that it will be very clear, like the difference between the business.
Yeah.
Legal entity.
Okay.
Just for
There
now, naming purpose. Thanks.
RN, then it is RE, LRU 001. Okay. Now, when for each legal entity or for each enterprise, you have to have a legal addresses created. So by default, what happens is that if you create an enterprise, system thinks that for each enterprise at least one legal entity will be there. So at the same time, you are also entering the legal entity name. So let me make like this: TR LE001. Now you have to enter a address also, legal address. Now there your geography will come into picture. So we'll click on create. TRLEA 001. So as we have loaded all those geographies, that is the reason your state, city and everything is coming there when you select a post. So now we have created a legal address. Now we have entered the detail about enterprise. We have identified the primary industry. Now system is saying that for each enterprise there will be at least one legal entity. Each company will have a legal entity. So you enter the legal entity detail also. So we have entered the legal entity detail also. TRLE 001. And we have entered all the identifier detail and everything. Now, system is saying that do you want this interview process for more legal entity or you want to create a company with a single legal entity in a single country? So we want more. So we'll select this.
So,
So you
Ravi,
can see different, yeah.
So when you select the first option, that is for the global. So if I have like a more same company
Yeah.
in UAE or UK or India.
So on the first page, you will actually enter your headquarters detail in that case.
Okay.
So this legal entity will become your headquarter or the parent company. Okay. Now we'll click next. You will see that. Yeah.
But one enterprise might be having many legal entities. So which legal entity should you be on the first page? Which legal entity should you be writing?
So okay. So suppose that one enterprise can have a multiple legal entities, but out of those legal entity, there will be always a parent legal entity, which is the initial. Suppose that company was founded in 1901. So in 1901, the company started in US and in California. So that is your parent legal entity, the topmost legal entity. Though there is no hierarchy maintained in system, but a company is always known with that headquarter or that legal entity. We will always enter that detail there. And this train stop will give us the flexibility to add more legal entities. Now, once you are done with your enterprise and your main legal entity, that is your company headquarters legal entity or whatever, then the second thing is you will create divisions if required. Many client doesn't want to have any divisions in place. If your client require, then you can create divisions. Divisions can be again either on a country basic or either on the businesses they are doing. So for me it is TR Dev 001. So again, one is of the division is in US. So I have created a address. It will start appearing there, the legal entity address. So you can use the same address in division also. Now there is also a division which is operated in India. Okay. So at the same time, we have to create a location for India because we don't have any locations in India. So I will enter results.
So at this time, if you cancel this entire process, will the TRLEA 001 exist in the system or it is
No.
just the timing?
It is just the timing. Until you don't load them, it will never go in the system.
So on the fly, we are creating location. It is also showing in the drop-down list here. Wow.
Yeah. But it is not getting loaded. It is not in your database. It is still in a temporary database. So once you load the entire configuration, then only these data will be actually created in the system.
So Praveen, one more basic question. In EBS, we maintain a separate instances for North America, Europe, or India, right? So in cloud applications, do we need to maintain a separate URLs for the cloud application, or is everything with a single sign-on?
Single. So let me enter the details. So we have two divisions created now. TR dev 002, DR dev 001, and we have a locations also. For one, I created a new location. For other, I have used the locations which was created earlier in a previous chain stock. You remember when you create an enterprise, you also added a detail about a legal entity because so same legal entity has flown here. It is your ultimate holding company. Now, if you want to create more legal entities within that enterprise, so you can click. So let me create a legal entity which is in India.
So this will be another headquarters in Indian branch.
Yeah, so it is like your company is operational in India as well as US. So for taxation purpose, you need to have a legal entity in India also because our India taxation is different than you. And if you actually are hiring a person in India, so the entire payroll and a lot of things actually gets changed. Our income tax law is different than the US income tax law. So you have to get your company registered in India also to do a operation in it. So we'll make it as an TRLE 002. Division is not required. Same I will use and just I will change the identifier to 2.
Like, can you give an example like Microsoft US office, Microsoft India, like, right? So
Yeah.
Microsoft US is a corporate office, and it's one of the offices in India which has a legal entity in Hyderabad, for example, something like that.
Yeah, because in that case, suppose that Microsoft is hiring an employee in India. So they have to hire and they have to do all those taxations related to that employee as well as their earnings and lot of things depending upon India laws, which is governed by your income tax, India income tax. So they have to have in whatever country they are actually hiring the employee or doing any businesses, they need to get registered with that company laws.
So
that
the
is
legal
legal
entity will be to the Hyderabad office, right? That's all.
Yeah, legal entity will be Hyderabad, Microsoft Hyderabad.
So the top organization, though it is in US business entity, legal entity, it is this is totally separate. That is totally separate.
Let me get our okay, so we have entered a different registration number. Click next. System is asking that whether you want to create a business unit which is same as your legal entity or whether you want to create a business unit depending upon the country. So see, it will create a business unit something like India and US. Whether you want to create a business unit depending upon your divisions. So you can use a multiple, so you can create the business unit depending upon the different combinations. But we don't want that. We actually want to create a, so country again you can select India and you can give a location. So it is an India country. Now if you want to create another business unit, code will be TR finance. And this business unit is in US. Click next. Click next. Now you will see that by default common set and enterprise set is created. Enterprise set is like whenever a same instance is holding multiple enterprise which is down the line. So whenever right now what happens in instance a single enterprise can only be loaded and exist. Maybe down the line Oracle is planning that a single instance can be used to have multiple enterprise. So in that case it will come into picture. For time being it doesn't make any sense. Common set makes sense because in case if you want to assign different grades or different jobs to a common set, we can use that. Now we have our two business unit. So we will create a set also. Set a set 001. It is like set 001. Okay, so maybe you can write we have created only one set and common was by default. We'll go to the next. So you remember what we had a discussion is that each business unit will have only one set assigned to it. So we have two business units if you see. So for one business unit, we'll have a common set. All the foundation data like job, department, grade and location, which are common, which have a common set, will appear for this business unit 002. For business 001, we'll assign a set TR set 001. So all the jobs, locations, grade and department, which are mapped to this set, plus the common one will appear for this business unit. As we know that location is also a reference set enable object. Now, this LE00A, I will map it to set 001. And location 2, I will map it to the common. So what will happen? For business unit 002, which was mapped to common, only this location will come 002. But for business unit 1, which was mapped to TR set 001, location 001 will also come and 002 will also come because 2 is a common and 1 is mapped to the set which is there in the business unit. Any question on this, or I will go back again. These three times. Common was there. Enterprise we are ignoring because it doesn't play any role till now. We created only one set, 001.
I have a question that a common set has all the jobs, grades, and all locations of an entire enterprise, right? Entire enterprise.
No. So whenever you create a job or whenever you create a grade, so there again you will specify the set. Suppose like if I take an example of location. So we created two locations and these locations are mapped either to a common set or either to a specific set. Okay. So whenever a business unit is mapped to a specific set, all the location mapped to a specific set plus common will appear to that business unit. So in this case, this 001 location plus 002 location will appear to the business unit 001. And for 002, only one location will appear because we have two locations out of which one location is mapped to common set. You are done with all those things. You will click next. Click next after this location reference set. So you will have this review there. So you can see what you created. You created an enterprise, you created two divisions, you created two legal entities, you created two business unit, okay? One business unit is mapped to TR set 001, other business unit is mapped to common set. We have the reference, we created one reference set. So you can see all those details in this review page.
Praveen, does that common set can see everything? All the jobs, grades, everything? That common set?
All the jobs and grade which is in common set will be visible to the common set business unit.
But not on the reference set 1001. We cannot view that in common set, right?
No.
Okay.
No. That will be only visible to the business unit which has that set. So business unit which is mapped to set 001 will be able to see all the foundation data which is mapped to 001 plus all the common ones because they are already common.
What if I want to view everyone? So then we need to define a reference set?
No, suppose that we have seen many clients in which they want they don't want to do any security like this. So they want that our all jobs should be visible to all business unit. Our all department should be visible to all business unit. So what we do is that we don't create any set. We map all the business unit to common set and we map all the foundation data to common set. So everyone is able to see each and every.
So that can be implemented and you have to have only one as common set. You cannot have any other one. If you have an additional one, then again you have that problem, right?
Yeah. So suppose that if a client is, they want everything to be visible to everyone. Okay, so why to create set? We will have everything mapped to common. Now once you are done, you will click save and close. Once you are done with save and close, we will do another set of tasks, that is configure jobs in position, but that is something which we will do later on. Our next um, lab exercise is to create a enterprise and all those things using an enterprise structure configurator. You can go to your implementation project, try to search for a task, establish enterprise, and then try to use this plus button and try to create the thing and explore what are the different options which is there.
So when we implemented like this project, like this enterprise configuration is really only one-time setup, right?
Yeah.
Once you loaded, you cannot delete or you cannot put any end dates or anything like that, right?
No, we can do all those things. So see, coming to this point now, you saw that we did all these things with help of our enterprise structure configurator, but we have a separate task for each and every object. And in 99% of projects, we use separate tasks to create business units, to create departments, to create locations, because those tasks actually provide a lot of other flexibility. So that we'll discover later on. This enterprise structure configurator is mainly used for very small clients and which have a very straightforward data. Suppose that you have a bigger client in which there is a lot of legal entity, like 20 legal entities. There you have a lot of maybe like 100 departments. You have 100 locations. Then if you start using this, it will take a lot of time to create, and many times uh, you will not be able to enter a lot of details. When you go and try to do them by using separate tasks, suppose that for location you have a separate task, manage location. So there you can enter a lot of other details also at the same time of creation.
Is there a file-based loader to use when load these configurations?
Yeah, so we have this HDL. So enterprise and division is something which you have to create manually. Okay. Once you are done with creation of enterprise and division, your business unit, locations, grade, department, and everything can be actually loaded with help of your HDL. So see, these are the different files which we generally use to load the foundation data. Suppose that you have 100,000 of grades. So we generally use this HDL file to do a bulk load. We'll see all of them. So ESC is generally used in a case when you have a very small organizations and requirement is very much clear in the day one. You don't have a lot of informations to be captured. Then we go with this ESC. And whatever you create with help of ESC can be indated or can be renamed, can be changed, can be made inactive by going to the individual task.
But I guess it doesn't happen that frequently, right?
It doesn't happen. And until unless you don't load the ESC, whatever you are doing is also not going to get created. Once you load it, and suppose that you have created 3 business unit with help of your ESC. Now you want additional business unit to be created. So in that case, you can go to a task that is manage business unit, and you can create the other one. And once you have created your this enterprise with help of ESC, you can download the results also. So it will actually give you the entire things which you have created in a presentable format.
So Praveen, we have to do this enterprise configuration in our implementation project folder, or it's a separate?
Yeah. No. Whatever task you will do is that you will go in your implementation project, and there you will search for the task, establish enterprise.
So establish. Alright, so if you see, it's completely grayed out, okay? So I'm going to hit the refresh page. So my information is saved there. When I click create, or then enter like,
Enter some name first.
oh, okay.
Unable to retrieve. Can you go back?
That's fine. I expected that.
I was also actually expecting that if you click refresh, something may happen.
So we have that same issue like where we have that OAF pages, we cannot do a back page. So we have the same thing here.
Yeah, so many times in most of the ERP back page is not supported. So it is like you click on a done or cancel. If you do back page, it is like it will take you a lot back.
And it doesn't save this history also. Enter price.
So there is an alternative. So whenever you are doing any transaction, you will also see a save button. So it is always whenever you do any transaction.
Okay.
So you will see save, edit, cancel. So try to click save after 2 or 3 steps further. So can you see there's a save? So if you click, if you are actually clicking save after every 2 or 3 train stops or after every 2 or 3 pages, so it will remember the detail.
We cannot type also here. Problem.
And if it is a list of value, you have to select, and this tab is not working for countries.
So did they add any new functionality R11 versus R13?
A lot of things are changing, especially on the technical side. A lot of web services were exposed. Then in a module, in core HR, there was not such a major change. In module specific, there were some changes here and there. Composition, there were some changes. Security console, there is a lot of changes in security.
Is there any naming conventions we have to follow? I mean, like when we go into real time?
Again, it is advisable that because in real time, you have to actually create a legal entity which is a real legal entity. Yeah.
Whatever the existing one, right?
The existing one, yeah. So if a company name is XYZ, so you have to create XYZ one. So save is something which will work when you enter the entire detail on this page.
I'll try to create whatever you created already one. What is that one? LE?
Click search. Click search. Give a blank search. Remove everything.
Okay.
Give a search. Let's see if something appears. Okay, so see, I have not loaded. That is the reason it is not coming.
So you don't
So
have
you
any.
can click create again. Try to click create. And let's see what happens this time. And we'll enter manually. We'll not enter tab.
Okay. I can give any legal address name.
Yeah. Give address line 1 as in something. I think there's 2 times Ohio.
I know. I was trying to click that and it was again it hangs.
I think 1 minute. Just type postal code 100 and click tab now. I think this time it should go.
Oh, okay.
So that blocker button.
Okay.
So whenever you're using such random addresses like for practice what we are doing, so if we use some random postal code and write some there are different random city name, so doesn't it show an error in this application?
So see,
Like if I give a India postal code and write a US city name, so won't it give an error or something?
because see, it will. So for US, if you try, it will not allow you. For some kind on which the address validation is there, it will force for the address validation. If for India the address validation is not there, it will not force you.